I paid 14,000 euros to bring my family to my graduation, and they went to Greece. You're not even a real doctor, my uncle Enrique posted, so I sent them the degree along with the invoice. 3 hours later, my mother was calling nonstop, but I had already done something they didn't expect. Not even a real doctor, my uncle wrote in the comments, just that, no congratulations, no emojis, no well done, just those 5 words under the photo I posted from the ceremony. My gown was still wrinkled, my hair looked like I'd fought the wind and lost, but I never felt so proud, not when I was accepted, not when I passed the exams, not even when I made my first diagnosis without a supervisor by my side. That photo was the moment I could finally breathe. I had done it, and they spat on it all. It started with the tickets. I spent 14,000 euros, yes, with 4 zeros, to bring them business class because mom's back couldn't handle tourist, and dad deserved a little comfort after everything he'd done for me. I didn't argue, I just paid. I even printed their itineraries on nice paper and put them in gift envelopes. Your flight leaves on the 4th, I told them. The ceremony is on the 6th, then dinner is on me. Don't be late, they'll read my name at the beginning. Mom clapped, Dad nodded. Lucia, my sister, asked if she could bring her boyfriend. I said yes. They never got on the plane. 3 hours before their flight, I received a message from Lucia. We won't be able to make it. Something came up. I'll explain later, love you. That was it. I spent my graduation scanning every face in the audience except the ones I wanted to see. I kept looking at the empty reserved row. I had to keep smiling for the cameras, shake hands, receive my diploma, take the group photo alone. It wasn't until I checked Facebook that I understood what something came up really meant. There they were, Mom, Dad, and Lucia posing in front of a white chapel on a cliff with turquoise water stretching behind like a postcard. The caption read, "Dreams come true in Santorini. Family time is the best time." Not a mention of me, not an apology, just champagne glasses, sun hats, and comments from relatives like, "Well deserved, Greece looks great on you, beautiful," and "the doctor nephew." And then my uncle Enrique chimed in, "He's not a real doctor." That comment, that's what broke me. Not the missed flight, not the money, not the empty chair at my graduation. Those 5 words, because I paid for absolutely everything, and they treated me like I was dispensable. So I did the only thing they didn't expect. I sent them a high-resolution scan of the diploma, and right below, I attached a copy of the flight invoice with the label "Paid in Full." Then I turned off my phone. 3 hours later, my mother was already calling nonstop, but by then I had done something worse. I didn't block her, not yet. I wanted to see how long it would take her to say what she really thought. The first voicemail was just fake tears. "Honey, we didn't think it would bother you. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you've always been so independent." The second was more curt. "You're overreacting. You don't understand how stressful everything has been lately." In the third, she dropped the mask completely. "You didn't even go to a real medical school, did you? It was just an online course. Don't act all high and mighty." That's when I blocked her and Lucia and my father. But I wasn't done listening. I went back to the Facebook post. I refreshed it. My uncle's comment, "He's not a real doctor," already had 37 likes. I recognized the names: Aunt Carmen, Cousin Mateo, even my godfather Manuel, who once gave me a stethoscope for my 10th birthday with a card that said, "For our future Dr. Alejandro." I stared at it and started saving screenshots, not out of spite, but out of strategy. 2 days later, I received a private message from my cousin Ines, the only one who ever showed a little empathy. "Hey, I don't agree with what they did, just so you know. Your mother told everyone that you had canceled the graduation, that it wasn't going to happen. I only found out when you posted the photos." Oh, so now I was the villain. I asked her one thing, just one. Did they really say that? Ines didn't respond with words. She sent me a screenshot of the family chat. My mother, "Well, Alejandro made it clear we weren't invited. He said it would be awkward and that he preferred to celebrate with his real friends." Then my father. Let him be angry. Greece is better than enduring another lecture about his doctor stuff. Lucia, LOL, I bet he's now self-diagnosing with abandonment issues. I stared at the screen until my vision blurred. Then I opened Google Drive, looked for a folder titled Family Receipts, and added the screenshot. Because here's what they conveniently forgot. I had paid for everything. Just in December, I sent my parents 2,500 euros. They said it was for the heating bill. 2 days later, Lucia uploaded a story from a spa at a ski resort. Self-care matters, #grateful. Last spring, I covered the down payment for Dad's new car. He said the dealership was giving him trouble. He forgot that I have access to the joint account. The charge was processed at a Rolex jewelry store. The breaking point? When I paid for Lucia's emergency dental surgery. She told me she was in pain. She couldn't chew. She begged me for help. I transferred 1,800 euros in less than an hour. 2 weeks later, she posted a selfie from Mykonos. White teeth, frozen cocktail. Caption: white smiles and white wine. Wine glass emoji, smiley face with hard eyes. That's when I started collecting every bank transfer, every Bison note, every thank you message that always turned into emotional manipulation. Every time they cried poverty and then bragged on social media. I kept thinking, maybe I'm the crazy one. But then I found something that erased that idea forever. It was an accident. I was cleaning my old laptop, the one I used during my internship, and I found a backup file called GR 2024. I clicked, expecting to find old study cards. Instead, I found audio recordings. You see, I had recorded some of my calls with my parents while studying. Not intentionally. I was using a recorder app to track my study sessions, and sometimes I forgot to turn it off. One file stood out. It was dated March 3rd, the day I bought their graduation tickets. I played the audio. My voice: I've already sent you the confirmation email. You should see the flight to Barcelona for the 4th. The hotel is booked in my name. Mom's voice: honey, that's a lot. Are you sure you want to spend so much? Dad: let him do it. He has doctor money now, doesn't he? Laughter. Lucia: well, if he's a real doctor, not like those online university degrees. More laughter. And then came the worst, my father again. He thinks we're going to go and applaud like seals. He doesn't realize he's our retirement plan. The audio ended there. I sat completely still. Then I added the file to the folder. I named it Not a Real Doctor, MP3. That night, I made a plan. Not of revenge, of revelation. Because if they wanted to treat me like an ATM in a lab coat, then it was time for them to face the consequences. And I hadn't even sent the final bill yet. The graduation dinner was supposed to be a celebration, but instead, it became an ambush. I had made the reservation weeks in advance. Private room, good lighting, personalized menu. I even paid the deposit in advance to avoid last-minute excuses. They didn't know I still had it booked, and they certainly had no idea who else I had invited. I went in first, shirt neatly pressed, black suit, serene face. That kind of serenity that precedes tornado sirens. The restaurant manager led me to the room. Then the others arrived. First, my mother with pearls and perfume, walking like the queen of denial. Then Dad, feigning a limp for pity. Lucia came behind, too busy with her phone to notice the extra seats at the table. They hadn't seen the projector yet, and they didn't ask when we sat down. Mom opened the show. We're so proud of you, honey. Sorry we couldn't be at the ceremony, but Greece was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Dad added, we raised a doctor. They don't understand that on Facebook. He smirked self-satisfiedly. Lucia chuckled softly as she sipped her wine. Then the door opened again. Uncle Enrique walked in, you know, the not a real doctor one. He looked confused. I thought this was just for family. I smiled. Exactly. Then I stood up. I want to thank you all for coming, I said, clicking the remote. The screen behind me lit up. First slide, this is what a family looks like when you're the ATM. I let the silence breathe. Lucia blinked. Mom went for her glass of water. Dad stared at the screen as if it were a threat. Next slide, screenshots. Every transfer, every only until Friday, every manipulative message, every fake emergency, every request to be tagged as urgent. Please. Then the audio. I pressed play. Dad, he doesn't realize he's our retirement plan. Lucia, well, if he's a real doctor, not like those online degrees. Mom, he was always too sensitive. He'll pay. He always pays. The room went silent. Lucia looked like she was about to throw up. Mom's hand trembled as she reached for her purse. And then came the final video. I had edited their Facebook post, the Santorini slideshow superimposed with the image of my empty row at graduation. At the end, a copy of the plane tickets, €14,206.32, paid in full. Passenger names, all 3 of them. Destination, none. Then I looked at Uncle Enrique. You said I wasn't a real doctor. Want to correct that now? He turned red. It was just a joke, kid. How funny. It didn't seem like a joke when it got 37 likes. Then I turned to the others. You all pretended I was part of the family only when it suited you. You wanted a bank, not a brother, not a son. I pulled out a folder. I opened it. Inside, copies of the tax returns I filed for them, credit card statements that I paid, a notarized letter transferring the deed of the house back to my name. Because yes, the house where Lucia lived, I had bought it 3 years ago in my name. They just pretended it was theirs. Lucia's voice cracked. You said it was a gift. I looked her straight in the eye. And you treated it like trash. So now it's not. My mother tried to stand up. Honey, we didn't want to. But I was already talking. I've filed the eviction notice. You'll receive the letter on Monday. You'll also see your accounts frozen, the ones linked to my name. The car loan canceled, the shared credit card terminated, the utilities updated. You'll need a new billing address. My father slammed his fist on the table. You're destroying this family. I didn't answer. You destroyed it when you chose Greece over me. That's when the last guest walked in. Professor Ramirez, my mentor from medical school, who had driven 2 hours to be there. He approached the table, shook my hand, and turned to my family. I was there when he did his first night shift, when he spent 3 days straight without sleep preparing for his final exams. He saved a life before many of you finished breakfast. I saw him become a doctor while you treated him like a wallet. And he added, looking at my father, you didn't raise a doctor, you abandoned one. And he left. I stood up, closed the laptop, and put the projector remote in my coat pocket. This dinner is off. That's my last gift to you. And I left. Not with anger, not with tears, but with power. I didn't hear from them for 48 hours. No calls, no messages, just a deep, chilling silence. But on the 3rd day, everything exploded. Mom was the first, the queen of calculated chaos. She posted a 6-paragraph Facebook status with a black and white photo of me from high school. He used to be such a sweet boy. We raised him with love, but money changes people, it blinds them. My heart breaks for this broken family. 400 likes, 36 comments. Crying caritas emojis. Distant relatives asking what happened. Others saying, young people today are so selfish. And then came Lucia's message. A single line. You're going to regret this. Funny how people think you're going to back down after you've burned the bridge behind you. The eviction notice arrived at their door Monday morning as promised. Signed, sealed, official. An hour later, Lucia posted a crying selfie with a vague caption. There are people who destroy everything just to feel powerful, but karma doesn't forget. I didn't comment. I just smiled because karma was already unpacking its bags. That same afternoon, the board of the hospital I had recently joined published its quarterly news. My name appeared there. Dr. Alejandro W., MD, Resident Liaison, Patient Safety Committee. The post exploded. Congratulations from professionals Messages from medical school classmates. Even my old high school biology teacher commented, "You always had it in you. Proud of you, doctor." The best part? My family was tagged in the original post. Publicly. Accident or purpose? Who knows? But now their wall was filled with praise. The same people they lied to now praised the not a real doctor they so humiliated. And then came the bill. No, not just the symbolic one I sent after graduation. I mean the real one. I hired a lawyer. I asked him to calculate, penny by penny, the money I had given them over the past 4 years. Loans, gifts, emergencies, unpaid cards. The total, €62,387.19. I attached the invoice to an official demand letter. Not to demand that they return the money, I didn't want a single cent. But to close the cycle. The message was simple. This is what it cost me to be part of your family. You won't receive another euro. 5 minutes after they received it, Lucia posted a story. Imagine keeping receipts for love. I replied, for the first and last time, imagine selling love like it's rent. Enjoy Santorini. She blocked me. But it didn't end there. The story started to spread, not because I told it, but because they couldn't stop twisting it. They told the neighbors that I had become a monster, that I was unbalanced, that being a doctor went to my head. So I responded, not with anger, with proof. I created a private blog with a single entry. Title: The Price of Family. An autopsy. I told everything. The fake emergencies, the graduation betrayal, screenshots, audios, bank transfers, even the photo of them on the Santorini cliff, smiling like they hadn't missed the most important moment of my life. I didn't name names. I didn't insult them. I simply told the truth. And I ended it with this. If this makes me heartless, so be it. If setting boundaries is betrayal, so be it. If being used and finally saying enough makes me the villain, then I hope to be a great villain. I didn't post it publicly, but someone did, and it was shared. Suddenly people started writing to me, strangers, old classmates, even journalists. A podcast invited me to talk about toxic family dynamics. A wellness blog reposted my story under the headline, "When saying no is the bravest thing a doctor can do." Then a local newspaper contacted me for an interview. Headline: From abandoned graduate to medical advocate, a doctor's story. And you know what? They published it on the front page with a photo of me holding my degree, standing next to an empty row of reserved chairs. The photo went viral. 3 days later, I received a call from my father. Hidden number. I answered out of curiosity. He didn't say hello. Just, "You made your point. Happy now?" I didn't answer. He continued, "Your mother isn't eating. Lucia is a wreck. You humiliated us." And then the real reason, at the golf club they're starting to ask questions. And there it was. It wasn't guilt. It wasn't love. It was reputation. So I ended the call with a single sentence. "Don't worry, Dad, you'll always have Santorini." And I hung up. A week later I moved. Not just to a new apartment, to a new life. I bought a townhouse under a different name. No forwarding address. New phone number. But before I disappeared forever, I left one last thing in their mailbox. A framed copy of my degree. Below it, a sticky note. Real doctor. The end. Really. I never looked back. 6 months later, I changed my name. Not legally, not on paper, but in everything that really mattered. New phone plan, new email, new delivery address, all linked to a new alias. For the people who mattered, I was Dr. Alejandro W. For the rest, I was nobody. And it was perfect. The townhouse I bought? Quiet. 2 floors. Wooden floors. A Japanese maple in the backyard that turned blood red in October. That kind of peace you don't appreciate until you've spent 29 years drowning in obligations. I didn't decorate much. Minimalist, clean, no family portraits, no nostalgia. Just framed degrees, medical books, and a coffee maker I loved more than half of my family tree. My days became sacred. Wake up, run 5K, work, see patients, heal people who said thank you, and meant it. Come home, silence, peace. No calls asking for money, no messages saying, "Can we talk?" No threats disguised as emojis, no guilt wrapped in Christmas cards. Just me living intact. But the past has a funny way of knocking on the door, even when you've slammed it shut. It was a Tuesday when the email arrived. Anonymous sender. Subject: You might want to see this. Attached: a screenshot of a GoFundMe page created by Lucia. Title: Help our family heal from the past. The photo was old, all of us together at a barbecue from when I was still naive enough to believe they loved me for who I was. The description said I had abandoned them, that I used money as a weapon, that I hacked into family accounts and left them homeless. They were asking for 50,000 euros. I checked the donations. They had already raised 12,647 euros. Dozens of comments like, "I'm so sorry you're going through this. Prayers for you. Money doesn't make you a better person, honey," and one from Uncle Enrique, "I always knew he had problems. Keep your head up." I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just made coffee, sat down, and opened an old folder titled Truth Folder. Inside, the full audio of my father laughing as he talked about using me, the screenshot of Lucia's spa trip dated 2 days after the dental emergency, the receipts for every gift that turned out to be a lie, and my mother's voicemail, the one where she said, "Honestly, we just thought you'd keep paying. It's what family does." I uploaded everything. I created a website. Black background, no flashy design. Title: Since you wanted the story, here's the whole thing. Then I added a note at the top: this is not revenge. It's reality. I'm not raising funds. I'm not begging. I'm not hiding. I'm simply done. I posted the link in one place, under Lucia's GoFundMe page, as a €1 donation. Message: Doctors still not real, huh? Enjoy the receipts. By noon, the campaign was blocked. By 3 p.m., the page was deleted. By 6 p.m., Lucia's Instagram went private. And at 9 p.m. sharp, my phone vibrated. New number, local code, probably a burner phone. I answered. Silence. Then, "Why are you doing this to us?" My mother. The same voice, a different tone. Weak, broken, desperate. I took a sip of coffee. I let her talk. "You already left. Why can't you just forget? Let it go." I finally spoke. "You made me the villain, so now I'm giving you the ending you wrote." She started to cry. "We didn't think you'd really leave. Sometimes healing means walking away from what hurts you. And that's medicine, too." And I hung up. For the last time. It's been a year now. The house they lost? Renovated, rented to a family of 5 who actually value things. I sometimes drive by, just for the poetry of it. They put a blue mailbox at the entrance, the kind my mother always said looked cheap. It fits the place better now. And me? I built something better. A new foundation. Not just a career, a legacy. I launched a medical podcast. I called it Real Doctor, Real Life. The tagline: Why not all stories end with applause? The first episode? I sent them the degree and the invoice. It reached 1 million plays in 3 days. I donated the 14,000 euros from the first ad revenue to a scholarship fund. I named it in honor of my grandfather, the only one who never asked me for anything in return. The scholarship? Strict requirement. No applications from family members. Last week, I received a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside, a cheap, shiny birthday card, the kind they sell at gas stations. The message inside read, "We miss you." I smiled. I went out to the patio. I lit the card. I watched it burn in the steel porch tray, the flame devouring the edges like it was hungry for closure. Then I went inside, closed the sliding door, and changed the lock.